picture we took many years ago, when I said to you we would never grow old. Messages I've saved that I never send, cause I don't know you, but I used to back then. I remember that I was drunk out my mind when we kissed for the first time. In the back of your car we passed out counting stars. Promised all these years we'd pack our things and disappear. I never thought I would see you here after all this time.
Away out of this small town, got a place at school you didn't hang around. Every day you're far away, these streets don't feel the same. Everywhere is painted with your name. I remember that I was drunk out my mind when we kissed for the first time. In the back of your car we passed out counting stars. Promised all these years we'd pack our things and disappear. I never thought I would see you here after all this time. I remember that I was drunk out my mind when we kissed for the first time. In the back of your car we passed out counting stars. Promised all these years we'd pack our things and disappear. I never thought I would see you here. Try to replace you with somebody out there.
If I didn't chase you, would you even care?
And if I lost my mind, would you come around? I will keep you safe and sound after all this time.
Words spill out of your mouth. You wish you were someone else. I miss you, but I know you miss your old self too. Never once spoken.
sound, back to the sound. Sound, back to the sound.
Well, maybe I'm done, maybe I've lost. Still putting up a fight because I love my mom, I love my family. When I was young, they would all look after me. I don't know why, but I feel like a burden. I spend my life overthinking my purpose. Can't really cry, I'm so used to the hurt. Trauma keeps flipping me at the wrong moment. Oh, I just wanna numb the pain for a minute. I just wanna run away on vacation. I don't know what else to say now. I just need to numb the pain. To numb the pain for a minute. I just wanna run away on vacation. I don't know what else to say now. I just need to numb the pain.
A broken glass while I'm thinking in my head. I mind my own, I don't even break a sweat. Oh, is insane. Why you still live in vain? I'm not the one, you're the victim of your own mistakes. It's sad to hear the lights under the street lights, under the street lights. Untold stories, they were left behind. The silent breeze, I got nothing on my mind. This madness is insane, why you still live in vain? I'm not the one, you're the victim of your own mistakes. It's sad to hear the lights under the street lights, under the street lights.
Rise up from the ashes, wings on my back, stay lit like a matchstick. We ain't coming back, I swear. Just let go and see what happens. Gotta let go to see the magic happen. They got us a quick change, so we like them in phase. I'll just buy a new watch, time to make my wrist ring. The zero gravity keeps elevating me. So we like them in phase. I'll just buy a new watch, time to make my wrist ring. The zero gravity keeps elevating me. Born in the darkness, fight for the light. If this ever die, I'ma fight for my life. Keep fighting on, listen, keep fighting on. We keep moving up, you can't hold us up. So high, I'm up above the clouds. So high, I can't see the ground. So I ain't coming down. So no, I ain't ever coming down. Rise up from the ashes, wings on my back, stay lit like a matchstick. We ain't coming back, I swear. Just let go and see what happens. Gotta let go to see the magic happen. They got us a quick change, so we like them in phase. I'll just buy a new watch, time to make my wrist ring. The zero gravity keeps elevating me. The zero gravity, they got us a quick change, so we like them in phase. I'll just buy a new watch, time to make my wrist ring. The zero gravity keeps elevating me. So high, I'm up above the clouds. So high, I can't see the ground. So high, I ain't coming down. So no, I ain't ever coming down.
I can feel how I'm changing. I don't know if I'll ever go back. All the ways that you make me, build me up on the things I lack. I don't ever wanna lose you now. 'Cause all I think I make you feel me now. 'Cause it's you and only
lonely. Because it's you and only you.
Baseline gonna make man shut up.
But you long gone, it don't matter. Ride or die, that's been the deal. The light of your back, I disappear. But if you don't play that for me, I'm out of here, I'm out of here. I lick my gun and then I'm done. I'm out of here, I'm out of here. And you know, man, to tell me you're no good. I'm brushing away to you, the weight of you, of my shoulder. Done with my cigarette, and when all the smoke is clear, I'm brushing away for you, the way for you, the way for you. Don't need to know
Birds and people are living together in seemingly perfect harmony, until one day a young man catches fire. This is Phoenix.
Yeah. Shawty loves it, loves that I'm a dog. They don't want it, they scared of what I know. Told you the budget, I gotta get my own. Shout out my bros, this right here deserves a toast, A lot of people back home on my back and they know. Trying to get on my line, cause the people I know. Manifest this year, 7+ on the ropes. They ain't doing this shit, tripping over my flows. I'm on the way, tell them I don't play. I'm on the move, trying to get my pay. I might just move on them, watch and pray. I'm on the way, I'm on my way. Manifest this year, 7+ on the ropes. They ain't doing this shit, tripping over my flows. Loves that I'm a goat. Yeah. Yeah. Shawty loves it, loves that I'm a goat. They don't want it, they scared of what I know. Told you the budget, I gotta get my own. Shout out my bros, this right here deserves a toast, A lot of people back home on my back and they know. Trying to get on my line, cause the people I know. Manifest this here, 7+ on the ropes. They ain't doing this shit, tripping over my flows. I'm on the way, tell them I don't play. I'm on the move, trying to get my pay. I might just move on and watch and pray. I'm on the way, I'm on my way. Manifest this here, 7+ on the ropes. They ain't doing this shit, tripping over my flows. Loves that I'm a goat.
Been trying to change what I've been trying to say. Words don't come straight from my head to my mouth. It's such a shame that it fell out of place. Was never me that was bringing you down. Why we always looking for more? Why we always looking for more? Why we always looking for more? Always looking for more. Why we always looking for more? Why we always looking for more? I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. Why we always looking for more? Why we always looking for more? this life like kryptonite. And if you keep me close, every minute in this hourglass you hold. Oh, oh, oh. And when I fall to be, we be letting our fate to save me, a superhero in this.
up a lot it sounds. More when I was not around. Certain people that I know, they ain't no longer about. Unless you heard it from me, then you ain't heard it from me. Got it from me, all the energy extra. When the bass gets huge, couple hits to the face. I know that I need time now, so I got. Why you wanna move like that? Why you want one? Why you want act like that? Why you play hard? Unless you heard it from me, then you ain't heard it from me. Got it from me, all the energy extra. Whole guy, whole man, old school, young jam, all black, MZ, still screaming out that chain gang. When the bass gets huge, couple hits to the face. I know that I need time now, so I gotta call find my way. Why they wanna move like that? Why they wanna move like that? Why you want one? Why you want act like that? Why you play hard? Get girls but ain't a gallus. So shit but ain't a killer. I held a gun but ain't a killer. Can I keep it any realer?
Hey, I'm kind of glad you didn't pick up. I kind of just called to hear your voice. I miss you. I've been thinking about you, and I've been thinking about and how much I miss you. Every day. I hope and I wish that you're doing okay. Come on. Because I miss you. And I just thought of you. Of you listening to this, the thought of you on the other side of the line, I can't hang up. I don't want this to end. Not again. I don't know if you miss me too, but I hope you do. Things never go back to what we were, what I became so used to, what I thought would be forever.
Cause you won't look after my wounds. I suppose you will never regret it. I should throw myself out from the roof when I fade. Cause you won't look you won't look after most. I suppose you will never regret it. I should pull myself out from now, 'cause you fucking love it when I feel. 'Cause you won't look after most. I suppose you will never regret it. I should pull myself out from now, 'cause you fucking love it when I feel.
I'm finally tired of all the standby. Never said that I was perfect, but I'm willing to try. Let me show you what I'm made of. I am so much more than my mistakes.
And I'm finally tired of all the standing by.
Never said that I was perfect, but I'm willing to try.
Let me show you what I made of. I am so much more than my mistakes.
Stand on. I've seen things that you wouldn't believe. I was lost until I found that I'm invincible. Nobody gon' bring me down.
Here we go.
I'm invincible. Nobody gon' bring me down. All my hope was fading away. I'm not gonna make it to the end of the day. I was lost until I found that I'm invincible. Nobody gon' bring me down.
Invincible.
I'm invincible. Nobody gon' bring me down.
set the fire burning in me. All of the noise turned into choirs of harmony. Left me with the pieces of forever that you broke. But since you left me alone, I've been high. I've been high. Lately I've been high.
love the way that you move and how the lights keep up the groove. Like in a movie, baby, but it's ending too soon. We're here now, let's party together. Tonight is forever. We're here now, let's party together. Tonight is forever.
There's no doubt, gotta get out of this small town. You took my heart from me, now you're everywhere I see. Set me free, let me fly, let me find new kinds of highs. We're just wasting here, waiting for another year. We both know the score, we've been here once before. So many words unspoken, you took my heart, it's already broken. You don't have to wait, I can take the pain. I will surrender, let me go on a new adventure. It's my time, watch me build another life. Find another space, explore the world and find my place. Hope you find some peace of mind. Hope the night was worth your time. Threw my heart away, we won't see another day. We both know the score, we've been here once before. So many words unspoken, you took my heart, it's already broken. You don't have to wait, I can take the pain. I will surrender, let me go. It's a new adventure. On a new adventure. Adventure.
I found a picture we took many years ago, when I said to you we would never grow old. Messages I've saved that I
after all this time. I remember that I was drunk out my mind when we kissed for the first time. In the back of your car we passed out counting stars. Promise all these years we pack our things and disappear. I never thought I would see you here. Try to replace you with somebody out there.
If I didn't chase you, would you even care?
And if I lost my mind, would you come around? I will keep you safe and sound after all this time. Words spill out of your mouth. You wish you were someone else. I miss you, but I know you miss your old self too. Silver once golden. There's only so much holding on. You can't take when your mind's at stake. Oh wait, do what you gotta do, what you gotta do to be you again. Do what you gotta do, what you gotta do to put your heart to rest. I'll keep waiting as long as it takes. Do what you gotta do, what you gotta do to be you again. Some things I can't fix feels heavy on your chest. I wish I could carry the weight all on my back. Colors now faded. There's only so much holding back. I can't do what I'd rather lose than lose you. Do what you gotta do, what you gotta do to be you again. Do what you gotta do, what you gotta do to put your heart to rest. I'll keep waiting as long as it takes. Do what you gotta do, what you gotta do to be you again.
Being claim free in with this.
Absolute pleasure to drive in the low speed. The high speed corners this year have been really good for the drivers. They're enjoying that part of it when they're not porpoising. But the low speed is a little bit cumbersome, and I think this weekend's going to be a tricky one.
Charles Leclerc out onto the right-hander of Portier, and now into the tunnel on his first lap out there. Everybody's left the pit lane except Nicolas Latifi. Leclerc has just had a bit of traffic from Valtteri Bottas down at the Nouvelle chicane. And so that has scuppered Leclerc's running just for the moment, but still early stages.
First right back through the tunnel up to 3.
and into one. Right, so it's awful, very stiff vertically. Understood.
So that's Russell giving some feedback. Not quite sure what it was.
Yeah, I think it's typically decent feedback from George Russell.
Yeah.
They're methodical, having just popped in his first flying lap of the session, 2.2 seconds away from Sainz. Now Norris goes to the top on a hard tyre. The times will tumble and tumble and tumble, especially early on in this part of the session. So right now, their irrelevance is learning and building up and not hitting the wall. I think for Russell, he was saying it's pushing slightly in a couple of corners, which is understeering, basically, and then is very stiff vertically, so is bumpy, is what I'm getting from those two messages, trying to decode them. Wasn't that easy to hear.
No.
And it's not that easy to get on the radio around here as well, when there's corner after corner after corner, the concentration has to be so high to come in with you've got to be very concise with your feedback, and it's easy on some circuits. You've got a nice long straight, you can have a breather. It just doesn't happen here.
Charles Leclerc, 10th quickest at the moment in the Ferrari, but he had to get out of the way of, Bottas got in his way, let's say, and Bottas has actually returned to the pit lane. Everybody else still on circuit, and only Sainz and Leclerc are on the medium tyres for Ferrari.
And then couldn't take part in the race because he crashed out of qualifying, having set the fastest lap. So speaking to him this morning, he was saying he really wants to get a really good result under his belt. Otherwise, I suppose there is a chance that we will turn this into a bogey track for him. He won't turn it into a bogey track, but the media will continually say, oh, can't go well at Monaco. And that could sink in and be absorbed. But let's hope he gets a decent weekend away this weekend. And just out of interest, Lance Stroll's side of the garage, very, very empty at the moment. The mechanics have decided to go and have a look at the action. So there's a whole load of the Aston Martin green mechanics looking over the side of the end of the swimming pool section, having a good gander. Never seen that before.
They're looking at the Red Bull. In Formula 2, Leclerc retired from both of the races. He won at pretty much every other race that season. In fact, almost, apart from Hungary and Spa and Monza. I think those are the only 3 races he didn't win in, as well as Monaco.
So for the Monegasque driver that grew up a stone's throw from Saint-Devote, he's never finished a single race here in Formula 1 or Formula 2 or the historic race that was a couple of weeks ago, and he crashed out from a bit of brake failure in Niki Lauda's old Ferrari. Wow, that's unlucky.
Yeah, that's true actually. Yeah,
seriously unlucky.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about the Lauda Ferrari bit. Jenny.
Yes, I'm just down in the pit lane looking on at Nicholas Latifi, who his towering figure is just in front of me. He's got his cool vest on at the moment, but he is not in the car, unfortunately. I think they've got a problem with either some of the pedals or some of the seating, because team radio.
They're ready for everyone.
At the moment, well, as I say that, Verstappen now goes 0.6 quicker. So a 1 minute 16.582 for Max Verstappen, half a second or 0.6 clear of Daniel Ricciardo. Sainz is 3rd. Norris is 4th, Alonso is 5th, Stroll, Leclerc, Hamilton, Albon, Joe, the top 10 at the moment, all separated by 2.4 seconds.
Decent start for the McLarens. Ricciardo immediately down to a good pace, former winner around here in his wins, but the wheels didn't go on at his pit stop. They weren't ready in 2016, famously. Lando Norris was here as well. Their car works quite well in the low-speed corners. They've got drivers that know this place and like this place. I think they could be one to watch out for, and they've started nicely.
Norris was on the podium here, wasn't he, last year? 3rd place, I think, in the McLaren in the cool livery, and so yeah, absolutely. They're 3rd and 4th at the moment, Norris and Ricciardo. Leclerc quickest, Verstappen 2nd. As I say, the Ferraris, the 2 cars on the medium tyre. Everybody else has gone out on the hard, and I wouldn't imagine we're going to see much hard running over the course of the weekend. So that's probably why everybody has just bolted them on straight away, just as they're doing their sighters. Tsunoda across the line, and he's 12th fastest, 1 minute, well now 13th fastest, because someone else just crossed the line ahead of him. You can hear now Hamilton coming out and over the tunnel, and then onto the brakes into the left and the right at the Nouvelle chicane, and then back on the power heading down towards Tabat.
The onboard shot gives us a view of just how bumpy it is, and we're not talking porpoising that Mercedes was suffering before. It's just actually just rattling around over the bumps of the asphalt. They've actually smoothed the circuit a lot in recent years.
It looks bumpier than I remember it.
It's because the suspensions are so stiff.
Yeah.
So the sidewalls of the tyre have changed as well, the low-profile tyres, and nothing's absorbing the bumps very well. And so from the cockpit, we've already heard drivers complaining of the ride being bad, and watching it on board with Hamilton, who's just gone 5th, it did look quite abrasive on what is actually, they've done a lot to try and smooth out the track over years.
Jenny?
Just down at Alfa Romeo, and the number 77 car of Valtteri Bottas is in the garage. I've spoken to the team to try and find out exactly what the problem is, and they say they'll get back to me as soon as they can. But at the moment, Bottas is in the car. He's got the screens in front of him, so he's at least having a look at what's going on out there. But I'm sure it's a source of frustration that he is not able to be out there building up his data bank of information. They've got a little screw set.
There's an incredible amount of bouncing.
Okay, copy that.
So Hamilton's saying the same thing, a lot of bouncing. Sainz now goes to the top of the times, a 1:16.020, just over a tenth quicker than his teammate Leclerc, but Leclerc is improving on this lap as well. Let's bring in the BBC's chief F1 writer, Andrew Benson, for no particular reason, really, just good afternoon.
Hi, Jack.
How's it going?
Good, thank you, yes. I think that's a bit worrying from Hamilton, actually. I just wanted to say, I thought, Jolien, I have to admit that it was the aerodynamic bouncing, the porpoising that we were hearing as Hamilton went through the tunnel. Maybe I was wrong about that, but that radio message from Hamilton does suggest that it probably was, and that's not a great sign after they thought they'd turned a corner in Spain last weekend. In fact, George Russell was saying this morning exactly that. He thought they could, their season could start properly now. So I think that's a really key thing to watch from Mercedes this through these two sessions this afternoon is how are they going to get on? Was Spain a false dawn or not? And then, yeah, I think the focus for the weekend, Jack, is just going to be, again, Ferrari getting particularly strong in the corners this year, whereas if you had to say that Red Bull had a advantage, it was probably tyre wear and straight line speed, and of course this track's all corners and almost no straights at all. So if Leclerc can get his 5th pole in what would be 7 races, he's got to be considered favourite for that, I think. Then as long as he doesn't stick it in the wall or Ferrari don't mess it up again, he's got to be favourite for the race, I think.
Yeah, it certainly seems to be that way, doesn't it? Let's go head back down to the pit lane. Jenny?
Yeah, they're just putting on the bodywork for Nicholas Latifi down at Williams. They had a problem with his radio, so it's taken them a little while to get on top of it and to actually be able to fix it. I think it's due to overheating, and I have to say it's very hot once again this weekend. So Latifi just putting on his helmet at the moment, he'll climb in from the right side into the car and then hopefully head out in the next minute or two. Valtteri Bottas is still in the pit lane, and I'm just about to be told, I think, what's going on with him, but they need some decent results down at Alfa Romeo. It's a fragile car, we think. A couple of races, in fact, I think they've retired 3 races. Zhou's been out of the last 2, and Bottas has had some issues as well during practice sessions. So remember, this was the scene where they got the wheel nut locked on the car at Mercedes and couldn't get it off for him. He'll be hoping for a bit of better luck this weekend. It's not started ideally, though.
Verstappen across the line to go 2nd fastest, 500 slower than Leclerc. He's on the hard tyres. Leclerc's lap time was on the mediums, but he did have a bit of Schumacher traffic in the final third of the lap there, Verstappen.
I can't break in the tunnel, guys. The guy's going everywhere.
Ocon's saying, I can't brake in the tunnel, guys. The car is going everywhere. I presume he means into the Nouvelle chicane rather than in the tunnel.
Exiting the tunnel, yeah, into the chicane. And that's what I think. The Mercedes doesn't look drastically worse than anyone else, I don't think, but I do think everyone is struggling with a lot of just kind of mini bouncing. Actually, a replay of Hamilton going through the swimming pool there. The fast part of it, the should be flat out section, looked not great just then, and then he went straight on in the second part of it, the slower part where Leclerc crashed in qualifying last year. It does. bouncing out of the tunnel as well. Ocon, I think there with the Alpine message would be sort of signalling a similar thing to what Hamilton was suffering, was at least.
And it is, well, it was traditionally very bumpy coming out of the tunnel and braking for that chicane. They've smoothed that out quite a bit recently, but there was some, you think of Kimi Raikkonen getting all out of shape and nudging Adrian Sutil out of the race in 2007 when Sutil was on for like a 5th place or something really impressive, and then someone had Coulthard, I think, went off there in a Red Bull during a Grand Prix at some point. The car kind of like bounces one way and then sticks you back the other way into the barriers.
There was a big bump, wasn't there?
Yeah.
There was right on the braking zone. Sergio Perez had a big smack there in 2011 in qualifying.
Oh yeah, and didn't race.
Yeah. He, I think he missed the next race as well, didn't he? He missed Canada. Pedro De La Rosa stepped in. It was there, and it was always a recipe for a big crash where you just go straight on out of control, and if you're Kimi Raikkonen, wipe out a Minnow team on the way to their first points as well. It's gone now, so it's a little bit easier, but it's still a tricky braking zone. It still is a little bit bumpy, but the big one is removed.
Weather?
Whether what? Whether or not it's removed, it's still going to be a tricky braking zone. Might be a little bit of rain on Sunday, Jack. There are storms looming. Maybe a Mistral from the south might blow in. Some has been reported as gathering for Sunday. Today is lovely. Tomorrow is going to be very nice.
30.7 degrees, getting hotter and hotter all the time here. Leclerc has now gone to the top of the times, but Verstappen might be about to beat it, and he does. A 1 minute 15.327. Leclerc has actually just gone straight on at the first corner after setting that lap. Just then, too late on the brakes, I guess, and went straight on into Sainte Devote. Did he lock up? No, it didn't look very dramatic, but
it was a bit of a tame one for Leclerc, just trying to pick the braking zone and make it a little bit later. The thing with Sainte Devote is if you half-hearted, you try and make it, but you're in too deep, you're going to have a crash, and quite a big one. So you have to bail out so early, and Leclerc knew that. That's one of the areas where you can just press on a little bit on the braking zone. That one into the chicane now, you can straight line the chicane. A couple of drivers have done that already. Sainz and Magnussen have both hopped through there. Into Mirabeau as well. Nico Rosberg's famous qualifying parking part through there. There are some places you can push the limit, and other places you've got to really hold back and build up because the limit is the wall, and there's not the nice escape road to go down.
Verstappen fastest at 1 minute 15.3. 3/10 quicker than Charles Leclerc, half a second quicker than Carlos Sainz, 9/10 quicker than Ricciardo, who's 4th quickest. Perez, Norris, Hamilton, Gasly, Russell, Magnussen in the top 10. Alonso, Tsunoda, Stroll, Vettel, She left the pits now. So Stroll ahead of Vettel, but they've done pretty much an identical lap time in 13th and 14th, Jenny.
Yeah, the only problem is Lance Stroll is in the garage at the moment, still in the car, watching on the action that's happening out on track, but there's quite a lot of work happening to his Aston Martin. So they've taken the nose off, so they're having a little look. They're just doing some rewiring inside that. They're changing the taping on the brake ducts as well, changing that. It looks like they're taking off the bodywork as well. So for this point, you'd have to say they're trying something quite drastic in the run plan and trying to change everything, or, well, it's a little bit curious, to be totally honest with you. I'm trying to find out from the team what's going on. As yet, no information. Looks like Vettel's just about to come in his Aston Martin, but I do worry that the concept change that they've taken on at this team and whether it's the right direction actually for the team. We'll find out.
I assume it's a reliability concern for Stroll to be getting back in the pits so soon and looking at it, because his pace was actually okay for 7 laps, building up, and Sebastian Vettel's in the top 10. So Aston Martin, they're not locking up everything undrivable in the hands of Vettel. Maybe something else is just holding Stroll back at the moment.
I have a problem. Gearbox, I think.
Okay, watch behind Verstappen pushing. We're checking everything. Don't shift. Do not shift.
So that's Mick Schumacher saying that he's got a problem and he thinks it's a gearbox problem. We'll see whether he comes back into the pits this time. He's coming into the final couple of corners, and is he going to make it? Oh, I think he's got a hole at pit entry and has blocked the pit entry. So they're able to go around him, but it's just uphill coming out of the second part of Rascasse, and this is a bit of a tricky moment here, because I think Alonso has then gone around the outside of Schumacher and he's got a bit stuck.
I blocked the pit lane, I'm sorry.
Pit lane entry is now closed, and Alonso hasn't actually entered the pit lane yet, but the pit lane entry is closed. So an interesting one there for Mick Schumacher. Kevin Magnussen, his teammate in the Haas, had a bit of a slide at the exit of the swimming pool, but I wonder what's going to go on here with Schumacher, because he is kind of on the track, so I wouldn't be surprised if it would be a red flag here to remove his car. But if they red flag it, people can't get back into the pits.
Maybe a quick VSC, and then the marshals can hop out there. He's well off the racing line with the pit lane shut. They can surely push that car into safety. Flag. You're right.
But like you say, red flag, you have to return to the pits, and you can't. So that's a bit of an odd one. We'll see what transpires. A lot of the field were back in the pit lane anyway. Ricciardo was back in, Norris, Hamilton, Vettel, Russell, Alonso, Stroll, Joe, Ocon and Bottas were all back in. But yeah, people having to go past. Marshals getting the car up onto the sort of trolley that they put the cars on, and now they are going to wheel Schumacher back to the pit lane. So now pit lane entry is open, so people can come back into the pits while the red flag's out, and then the red flag won't be out for very long. There we go. Simple.
VSC would have done the job, wouldn't
yeah,
it?
just a little bit, but there we go. I mean, it was even under VSC, it was going to be marshals on the track on the sort of pit lane entry, so it was a bit of a risky one. So there we go. Just a bit of an awkward one.
Cars didn't get out of the way there. They carried on going round.
Yeah. So they're going to take Schumacher back through to the Haas garage by the looks of things, and that'll be it. This is the sound of Schumacher just coming around Raskas. And then he very nearly got there, but that's a bit of a weird sound, that. It's like he was, I don't know, it didn't sound like full revs. I don't know what that was, that sound at the end there.
It sounded like he was maybe on just into the rev limiter.
But yeah, but why would he just be like foot pinned on the throttle?
Yeah.
So you're hitting the rev limiter, because then if it did come back in,
or he just didn't have drive at that point, and yeah, odd.
Yeah. Laura says, did they put horns on the cars, or are you guys sitting above a car park? Well, though the various horns are you've got air horns from the fans, which are just outside the commentary box in the main grandstand. You've also got the horns for when cars come back into the pit lane to warn people that cars are coming into the pit lane as well. So that's why it's all a little bit loud at times. We've got 37 minutes and 25 seconds on the clock. Verstappen quickest, Leclerc second, Sainz third, Ricciardo fourth, Perez fifth, Gasly, Norris, Hamilton, Vettel, Russell the top 10, Magnussen, Alonso, Albon, Tsunoda, Stroll the top 15, and then Joe, Schumacher, Ocon and Latifi. Latifi has set a lap time, but it's 23 seconds off the pace, so he must have, yeah, I think that was, he was on his first push lap when the red flag came out, and then he stayed out to complete it, but yeah, that lost him a lot of time for Latifi.
Not good news for him, having sat out the first relevant part of the session, where Alex Albon's done the most laps of anyone on 14. Most drivers just pounding round. In fact, Max Verstappen at the top of the time is also on 14 laps, and Latifi needs some experience as well, needs to be able to build this one up slowly, and as soon as the car gets ready, no one can head out. The session's going to resume in just 30 seconds time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. They are pushing the Haas down the fast lane now, while everybody is now coming out to try and make their way onto circuit again. So they're actually racing. The mechanics are sort of sprinting, pushing Schumacher's car as fast as they can down the pit lane, and everybody is queuing up behind. They've now got the Haas out of the way. Everybody heads to the end of the pit lane. Light goes green now, and Lance Stroll is the first driver out there onto the circuit in the Aston Martin, followed by Esteban Ocon, and then it'll be Lewis Hamilton, and they will rejoin the track with 35 minutes to go. A reminder to download the Checker Flag podcast if you haven't already. Then if you want a big chat about lots of things, then go and get it from wherever you get your podcast or the BBC Sounds app. George Russell, Jenny.
Yeah, he's in the pit lane now. Hamilton was one of the first to go out down the pit wall. He was unlucky though because he got kind of caught up in the behind Schumacher rather than in front. Make him more comfortable or just free something up, but George Russell certainly one of the taller drivers, and he's struggling for comfort in that Mercedes seat, especially with the porpoising and the bouncing that they've suffered. So he's got a little very slim bit of foam just at the base of his spine around his back that they put into the insert of the seat to try and help him, but something not quite right for Russell at the moment. They're just putting the car back together, so hopefully he'll be out shortly.
Coming down to back, meanwhile, in the other Mercedes, third on the road at the moment. As far as the times are concerned, he is 8th quickest. Again, he's gone out now. In fact, he's gone out on medium, so I think this is his second set of tyres of the day, Hamilton.
New tyres coming for those that are back out on track. Possibly only Lance Stroll stayed on a set of hards. Lando Norris also out there on the mediums. There was a set of softs on board one of the cars.
Yeah, oh, you annoyed at me because I just changed the screen. Yeah, but I've changed it to the tyre tracker.
I lost my flow.
I've changed it to the tyre tracker.
Sorry guys,
screen.
lost my flow there on the tyres.
I don't think anyone's on the softs. We'll have a look.
Well, maybe you've changed it to the wrong page now.
Yeah, no one's on the softs.
Oh. The timing page was wrong for a moment.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Well corrected, Jack.
No, but the tyre tracker is quite interesting. I've not seen it before. And so I was just having a look at it, that's all. So I can tell you that I don't really know what it all means, actually. It's quite complicated. But Verstappen's done 13 laps on those hard tyres. That's what I'll tell you. Jenny. It's embarrassing.
Yes. Let me try and bail us out of this one. I'm down at Ferrari, and they've got the bodywork off the rear ends of both of the cars. So this could be a planned setup change that's brought a little bit earlier because of that red flag by Schumacher. Not 100% sure, and they're not going to tell me anytime soon, but it does look like they're about to put Carlos Sainz's car up in the air on the stands, and it looks like they're doing the same for Charles Leclerc. So both drivers remain in their cars, focused on their screens. However, yeah, cars going up in the air at Ferrari.
Okay. 33, less than 33 minutes to go, so we'll keep an eye on that one.
Hamilton's gone 4th on his new mediums that he's just done his first flying lap on. Still 6/10 away for Verstappen on a hard, and then the 2 Ferraris on their mediums. All 3 of those guys are in the garage, and the Ferraris are not going anywhere in a hurry. Probably it's just a routine setup change now, I would say. Halfway through FP1, 13 laps on the board, plenty of running from both drivers. Fairly well matched as well, less than 2/10 between them.
Verstappen quickest though. Leclerc 2nd, Sainz 3rd, Hamilton 4th now, as Jolien said, and Sam sent an email.
I choose the good ones.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's great to be back.
Across the line goes Lando Norris to go 3rd fastest then in the McLaren, and that is 3/10 quicker than Hamilton.
Yeah, the bouncing's crazy, mate.
Okay, Roger.
The bouncing's crazy, mate. Okay, Roger, is the reply. And so Hamilton struggling out there. How much changes do you make, or how many? One, does it just depend? Because generally speaking, you don't want to change too much at once, right? Because then you don't know what you've achieved by changing or what's done the change.
So normally you would change one thing, ideally, to do a back-to-back. You start in one direction and then you can move to your setup change and try and learn something. If you change loads of things, it all gets a bit blurry.
If you want to make a quick adjust, we can do that in probably 3 minutes.
What would you do to the front bouncing?
Okay, could probably do something quick on the rear, just to see if that's kicking it off.
So Hamilton's saying, okay, we can do a quick change, but what would you do? So they would change something on the rear potentially to change the front bouncing. What and that was going to. Do you have your setup changes planned before the session?
You can do for an FP1 because it's kind of the test session really of your weekend. It's the part where you're bringing upgrades to and trying to assess, and you're not sure between a couple of different setup options to start the weekend. So you just do a run on that. You split the cars sometimes, and then both drivers get a feel for it, and then they swap over. Downforce settings, wing settings, for example, even just a different front wing. So you can have it, or you use the setup change in the middle as a bit of a troubleshoot for things that are going wrong. And it sounds like Mercedes are maybe going to have to do that if Lewis comes back into the pits, because he's not happy. He's actually improving here, and he goes second with the fastest final sector of anyone. Verstappen, though, is on a lap now, but on the old hard tyres.
So Verstappen on a 15.327, Hamilton on a 15.499, Leclerc on a 15.7, but hasn't been back out of the pits.
I have no front grip, man. Box. I'm about to crash with the front right.
Grip, so Stroll, I'm coming into the pits, I'm going to crash.
He's on his old hard tyres, so I think then they're not firing back up these hard tyres. Is a classically unabrasive circuit, this one. I was surprised that so many drivers went on the hard tyres immediately, but that's obviously with a view to just pounding round and building it up. Usually the soft tyres can do a decent amount of running, and Stroll then, having had a run on the hards, went back out on the same hards, and clearly is just not getting the tyres into the working window, and then it's so sketchy driving this track when you just haven't got any grip.
And Norris now goes fastest, a 1 minute 15.301, 200ths quicker than Verstappen, 0.2 quicker than Hamilton, and they're doing similar run plans at the moment, Norris and Hamilton, by the looks of things. Valtteri Bottas, Jenny, still in the pits.
Yeah, and actually out of the car, so not looking good. He's got 2 laps on the board, not set a time. He said that the pedal was feeling strange. I think maybe the accelerator pedal, but they wouldn't go into any depth and detail about that one. So the car's been brought back in, and it's now up on its stance. Valtteri's out of the car, and unfortunately for him, doesn't look like they're going to get any running for the rest of this session. They're going to have to take off the gearbox and power unit. Whether they have to change it or not is another matter, but that is going to take a while, and that is not good news for Valtteri Bottas, who so desperately wanted to get out on track and get some run time.
Yeah, very frustrating that is. Daniel Ricciardo has missed the chicane on 2 occasions now, so while his teammate has been improving, Ricciardo has been going straight on at the Nouvelle chicane on 2 consecutive flying laps, so that's why he is only in 4th place currently on a 15.7. Leclerc and Sainz still in the pits, as previously mentioned. Yuki Tsunoda has gone 7th fastest in the AlphaTauri, 8 away from Lando Norris, who's at the top of the times. Albon is 9th, Perez is 10th. And he's been out on the hards and hasn't been out yet again. Verstappen is out on hard tyres still, and Perez 10th, Gasly 11th, Russell 12th, Vettel, Magnussen and Alonso the top 15, Stroll, Schumacher and Ocon, the 18 drivers to have set a lap time. Hamilton is improving, or he was improving a bit. He did a personal best in Sector 1. He's now coming through the right-hander of Portier and out underneath the tunnel once more, and not particularly improving this time around. I think he might have backed off now, Hamilton, in the middle sector after he did a cool down lap, but I think he's now on another cool down lap potentially. I know he's still pushing. I think he is still pushing. He's coming into the final sector. Lando Norris is quickest at the moment here in Monaco, the McLaren driver fastest, but we haven't seen more running from Max Verstappen, who's 2nd quickest, and Charles Leclerc, who's 5th quickest. In fact, Leclerc is still in the pits, the home hero. So 27 more minutes of running, but it's Norris quickest at the moment, and full commentary on the BBC Sport website. Norris improving again. Hamilton across the line, he did back off, so he did bail off that lap, but Norris is going again.
Ricciardo made a hat-trick, 3 in a row across the chicane. 3 in a row, and one was right with Lewis Hamilton as well, so I wonder if that was par with Norris through that part of the track. I don't know if Mercedes are eyeing up being on a par with McLaren this weekend. Norris has done a decent lap for now, though. Improved on his own personal best, just to chip it away. Sebastian Vettel on the soft tyres into third place in the Aston Martin.
Norris did improve, a 15.056. Vettel, as you say, into third on the softs. Tsunoda on the mediums went 5th quickest in the AlphaTauri. Albon is also out on the softs in the Williams. Hamilton has backed off again. He was 7/10 down after the middle sector. As he makes his way back towards the pit lane. Ricciardo there gets a lap in then in the end on the medium tyres, and he goes second fastest, a couple of tenths slower than Lando Norris. And Hamilton now returns to the pit lane. Verstappen follows him in, and those two return into the pits. Still the two Ferraris in the pits and have yet to go out on their second set of tyres. Verstappen hasn't been out on a new set of tyres yet either, so still just the hard tyres that he started the session on that he's still running around on. But encouraging stuff this from McLaren. Sort of quite unusual to see them strong on a Friday. Quite so sort of evidently and deliberately.
They're on it, aren't they? Straight away on that first run, they were right up there. Now they're the first one of the main contenders, other than Mercedes. There are no Ferraris and no Red Bulls on a second set of tyres, but McLaren are on those mediums, and they're straight to the top of the times. Good news for them is that Ricciardo is within a couple of tenths of Norris. Now he's put in a lap as well. Norris did a couple of times that were very quick. I think Hamilton might have touched the wall at the back.
Oh, he had a big slide. He had a big
another run on those medium tyres, did his personal best first sector, and then just went into back, and on the exit was squirming away the rear end. Got millimetres from the wall if he didn't hit it.
4th for Ricciardo at the Nouvelle chicane. We were saying this yesterday. No one goes into the wall at back anymore. I feel it's not very often, and I don't even feel people sort of brush it. You know, there were walls in like on the exit onto the back straight in Miami that everyone's just giving a little bit of a nudge, but people don't go into the wall at back anymore. Andrew Benson?
I think they've changed the profile of that corner without really telling anybody. It used to be quite a long apex. If you look at this sort of old Monaco track, it was a much more rounded corner. Now it's a very pointy apex, and I think it's changed. It's changed the nature of the entry to the swimming pool. I have to be honest, I don't know when they did that, but looking at that camera position that they have high in that grandstand there, it looks very, very different from my sort of overall memory of that section of the track.
It's a real ballsy corner to back. You come out of the swimming pool, the chicane, Nouvelle chicane, and you're just looking at the wall, and even if they've changed it subtly, it's still, you know it's a real fast corner, and the barrier's right there on the exit that Hamilton might have just brushed or not on the last lap. And it is very easy. All you have to do is just go in slightly hot or get on the gas slightly early, and you're in for a big one there. So I think of all the corners on the track, it's probably one of the more intimidating.
But so is that why nobody really ends up going in there very often? Because compared to the swimming pool exit, let's say, where people are in left, right and centre because they're just because you're a bit slower, you're being really greedy on the right-hand side because it's less scary, sort of?
I think there might be an element of percentages there. Compared to, let's say if there was runoff on the outside of Tabac, you'd see people using the runoff.
Yeah.
But because there's a just solid wall there, an Armco barrier, and you know that if you hit it, it's going to be big, people play it a little bit more conservatively. I have whacked it in 2016 in FP1. I hit the wall there.
Hard. You didn't go in though.
Hard enough. Oh, it was red flag o'clock.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. I think I might have been, maybe was I the last one to hit the wall there?
The last one?
In a rubbishy practice session.
I don't know why I can't. I would have been sitting right where I'm sitting now. Isn't that a bit weird? I don't know why that's weird to think of.
And I'd have been destined to join you, walking back to the pit lane.
Yeah. Jenny would have been in the pit lane going, oh yeah, Jolene's just walking
one of the
past me
Renaults,
now.
It'll be Palmer.
21 and a half, but that's not fair because
Magnussen been at FP2.
And
it was a tough day for us, that one.
And he had the biggest one of the year. He had the biggest Renault shunt of the year, Magnussen in 16. Rouge.
Oh yeah.
Jolien nearly had the biggest one of the year here, though, didn't he, in the race that year?
Yeah, it was a good effort.
Like my 2016 Monaco was not worth talking about.
21,
Move it on.
21 minutes and 0 seconds left on the clock. Jenny Gow.
It's going to get noisy in a second, just because the Ferrari cars are going out. Setup change complete. It took about, I don't know, 7 or 8 minutes, I'm guessing. And first out will, I think, be Carlos Sainz. They managed to get him done, actually. The mechanics have just said, come this way and stand out the way of the car, but it's taking a little while for him to go out. So, yeah, they're all put back together again. Tyre blankets are off. They've got the medium banded yellow tyres on the car, and out goes the number 55 of Carlos Sainz. A hard left, trying to bank round so he doesn't go up into the wall, and out he goes. I think Charles Leclerc will follow suit quickly. And I seem to remember, Jolien, I was never that keen on approaching you when you came back to the pit lane to try and grab a quick sneaky interview with you. But I did when Massa crashed. Do you remember the year Massa kept crashing here? I can't remember which year it was, but
11.
It was like one after the another and another.
And he kept it in the same place in Saint Devote.
Yeah, double front lockup into the barrier on the left.
He did have a little chat with me, though. Very gracious in his bad weekend that weekend.
Ricciardo's made it 5, or maybe 6 now. Another one through the chicane.
Wow.
Gasly's gone second on the mediums. Russell's now gone third on the mediums, so he has left the garage and has made a better fist of this run.
Yep, and quicker than his teammate Hamilton by 0.3 of a second. Big track evolution here.
Yeah, huge. That's why.
Oh, Albon in the Williams had the iconic bump break Silverstone, swimming pool moment. Chicane moment we were talking about earlier.
And having said it's all smoothed out, maybe the fact that the cars are generally stiffer now and they're harder to drive. We've already heard it from Ocon, we've heard it from Hamilton. Maybe it's going to bring even the smaller bumps there in the braking phase into play. Yeah. And Albon's moment there was full on the lock stops, turning left because the car just pivoted towards the right, and he caught it nicely. That would have been big old moment, heart racing one for us.
That was actually a really, really, really big save from Albon. Jenny?
Yeah, just down at Mercedes. They're just letting Lewis Hamilton back out on track. They've obviously carried out the setup changes to try and stop the bumping and help him feel better in the car. So we'll be able to find out in about 5 minutes' time if that's had any real effect or not. So let's see, number 44 heading out onto the track. It's a used set of the medium tyres for Hamilton.
Well, across the line comes Max Verstappen in a couple of moments' time, and he is going to be potentially to the top of the times here. He's on a medium tyre. He's a quarter of a second up on Lando Norris after the first 2 sectors. Comes across the timing beam now, and it is faster. A 1 minute 14.712. Only 0.3 quicker than Lando Norris, so not particularly remarkable, that lap from Verstappen. Whereas Leclerc is on a lap now. Has he already tried a lap, Leclerc, or did they just do a sort of a build lap, maybe, these Ferrari drivers on the medium tyre? He's pushing now, and through the middle sector, he's going to pretty much match Verstappen in Russell in sector 1, similar in sector 2. So we'll see what Leclerc can do.
I don't think he's particularly on it.
No, you're right,
on
sorry.
This lap.
I was looking at Perez's times. Perez goes second fastest.
Yeah, Perez is done a decent job there to be just about within 0.2 of Verstappen. So Red Bull have gone out a little bit later, and they've taken some track evolution there. Track evolution huge around this circuit. It's a street circuit. It's never used. It's dirty and just not rub it in to start a weekend. So with every lap, the track gets better. The drivers get more confident. They flirt more with the walls. And we start to see now, even in this FP1, some big moments for both Hamilton and Albon, just starting to press on a little bit more. Let's see if the Ferrari's going to go for it now. I think Sainz is now winding it up for a fast lap. They've done 2 quite slow laps on these mediums they've just bolted on, and now Sainz is going.
Yeah, Leclerc was only 0.4 down in the first sector. Lap he then bailed on, but here's Sainz, goodness me, 0.1 up on Verstappen after sector 1. He's now coming around the hotel hairpin and then swinging right through the second part of Mirabeau and then down into the right-hander of Portier, takes him out into the tunnel. Someone has gone straight on at the first corner. I think it might be Latifi, but we'll have a look at that in a moment. Sainz will come through the middle sector after the Nouvelle chicane, onto the brakes, into the left, into the right. The car is looking nice and sort of lively underneath him, through to back, through the middle sector split, and he's still a 10th and a half up here. But he's getting traffic, a lot of traffic, and he has to bail out of it.
Yeah, it's Vettel and Magnussen in the Haas, the two cars.
Verstappen. It was Verstappen that was off at turn 1.
He's a long time in the runoff there, wasn't he? Verstappen. Yeah. So the two drivers that have been off at turn 1 so far have been Leclerc and Verstappen in this session. Leclerc's on a flying lap as well, and he might just about to be pinching top spot as we saw Sainz get horribly balked and Verstappen locking up. That was a bit more of a fruity lock-up for Verstappen. It was a huge lock-up on the right front as he hit the brakes for Saint Devant.
So, Verstappen not able to get the car stopped and had a bit of a yellow flag. Leclerc has just gone second fastest, so he didn't have any traffic. He's gone second quickest, and he's still pushing, I think. Here he comes through the first sector again, and he's backed off now, but he was pushing the first sort of up the hill towards Massenet. So Verstappen quickest, Leclerc 300ths slower. That might be the end of Verstappen's running now after that flat spot too.
I would have thought so. That would be very difficult to drive now for Verstappen. Just must have caught the bump there. There's a bit of a bump at the Saint Devant braking area as well. Nowhere near as aggressive as the Nouvelle Chicane one certainly used to be. And maybe Max just hit the brakes as he went over that and just had a solid front right lock-up. Perez still improving. Leclerc went second, started to do another lap, basically went quickly through Saint Devant and then backed out of it. Sainz was quicker than everyone on that last lap, but had to bail out because he had all that traffic through the swimming pool.
He's on a cool-down lap now, Carlos Sainz, so then he'll go again. Perez goes third quickest, set the fastest final sector of anyone, and is just a 10th back from Verstappen after his lap. Keeps out of the way of Alex Albon, who comes up the hill and goes past him. Albon at the moment only 14th fastest, despite being on the soft tyres. The other soft shod cars are Vettel in 8th, and Stroll in 11th, and Latifi in 17th. As what's Leclerc doing? He's just come across the line now, so we'll see whether he goes for another lap and another push lap or not. Sainz is just coming out of the final corner at Anthony Nogues. Pierre Gasly here, I think, has not really held up Lance Stroll. So I think that's a bit of a, I think it's a bit of a nothingy replay we've just been shown.
He was desperate to get out of the way, looking in his mirrors at the exit of the fast part of the swimming pool, and then just hopped straight through the runoff, just trying to get out of the way of Stroll. No major deal for Gasly, still 5th place in the AlphaTauri, which is very good for him. Half a second up on Yuki Tsunoda. But you know Tsunoda's nearly scored double the points of Gasly so far this year.
Really?
That's a bit under the radar, isn't it? He's been pretty decent so far, Yuki Tsunoda.
I agree. I think his qualifying has certainly come on tremendously, and I hadn't really realised he'd scored double the points of Gasly, but there you go. Was Gasly in 2 retirements from Gasly in Miami and Bahrain? Was he doing well at those points?
Miami, he was in the top 10,
yeah,
and then he got biffed by Alonso trying to pass him, and then he had that tangle with Norris, which brought the safety car out. So that would have been some points. And Barcelona, he took out Stroll and was in the wars from outside of the points already at that moment. So there's been a bit more pace in there for Gasly, but I think in general, Tsunoda, remember how tough Tsunoda was finding it this time last year?
Yeah.
And he was the driver that you'd be coming to Monaco thinking, is Tsunoda going to put it in the barriers? This year, not so much. He looks far more accomplished.
There's another car straight on at the first corner. Lando Norris has gone over the runoff area, and it was Kevin Magnussen in the Haas who went straight on at turn 1. Norris has missed the apex at the Nouvelle Chicane. Chris says, please can you ask Mr. Benson what was the outcome of the Mercedes power unit issues in the last race? Mr. Benson, over to you.
We don't know yet what state those engines are in. I think it might transpire over the course of this weekend, but at the moment they've not taken a new engine yet, so I don't think they have. I can't check my email actually since I've been in the box. But I think, yeah, we'll get back to them on that one.
Okay, there we go. So we don't know is the answer. Leclerc's pushing. He's very, very quick after the middle sector. He's sliding out of Anthony Nogues now, opens the DRS, comes across the line, and it is quickest. A 1 minute 14.531, and that is almost 2/10 quicker than Max Verstappen. We haven't seen Sainz go again. He's just coming through the middle sector now, and how are his sectors doing? 19.6, 35.0. He's pretty much matching Leclerc here, Carlos Sainz, as he comes into the final corners at Rascasse, then up to Anthony Nogues, out across the line. This will be an improvement for Carlos Sainz. By how much? The answer is second. He goes 700 slower than his teammate. Leclerc quickest, Sainz second, Verstappen third, Perez fourth, Norris fifth.
He's having a good session, Carlos Sainz. Right there with Charles Leclerc. Leclerc's not finished a race ever here, but he has that pace here as well, and would have been, I think, most people's tip for pole, or still is tip for pole tomorrow. Verstappen hasn't been back out since that big lockup, so he did destroy his tyres, and that'll be that for Max. Kevin Magnussen has done a very similar thing.
Let's put this too big. Box now.
It's huge. Huge flat spot for Kevin Magnussen there.
If you're following it, you think he's just had an engine blow up. It was massive smoke that came off the right front tyre. That would be straight onto the canvas, I'd have thought.
And what is that? Because, so on a normal track, you'd bleed off the brakes when you lock up, but actually Saint-Devant, it's difficult to just like come off the brakes. That must be a challenge.
Yeah, you've got to sort of pump the brakes to just try and get some rotation and some grip back, but it's just a little bit scary when the wall's there on the outside, and you don't want to just go and thump it really so early on in the weekend as well, so you just hold on to the anchors and hope that you slow down, and you're aiming for the runoff, so you know that you probably will. And it's that mixed with the bumpy braking zone for turn one that's called out Magnussen and Verstappen, and it's going to be an early end to both their sessions.
3 cars now separated by 700ths of a second. Charles Leclerc quickest on a 14.5, Sergio Perez on a 14.5, Carlos Sainz on a 14.601. Good lap that from Perez.
Good lap. Perez is showing decent pace, which will be encouraging for Verstappen as well, watching on now in the garage. Leclerc's on another flyer. He's on the fastest first sector of anyone this time through. Time's still tumbling and just, well, edging their way down now between the major contenders. Ferrari ahead of Red Bull, ahead of Ferrari, ahead of Red Bull. They're now 4 tenths clear of Lando Norris. It's good stuff, though. I like this part where they're just chipping away and chipping away.
Jenny?
Yeah, George Russell's just gone out. They did a little setup change for him at the front end, and I think Verstappen is going to go back out again. They're just setting the car down from its stands. I don't know if he's got the old set of the hard tyres on there potentially, but he's getting ready to prepare to go out.
Okay, interesting. 8 minutes and 33 seconds on the clock. Gasly's done a decent lap, you know, on the hard tyre to be 6th fastest in the AlphaTauri. We were talking about him a little bit earlier on, but that's a decent effort from Gasly. 7th is Russell, 8th is Ricciardo, 9th is Vettel, 10th is Hamilton. Tsunoda, Stroll, Alonso, Magnussen and Albon, the top 15. Joe, Ocon, Latifi and Schumacher, the 19 drivers to have set a lap time. Leclerc was on a quick first lap, but then just must have backed off, I think, already in the middle part of the lap.
Yeah, went straight through the chicane, but was already bailed out of the lap. So his good first sector was just 300ths up on his personal best, the best of anyone.
And he's going again. And is slightly quicker than his current best first sector, even though it's not his best first sector. He's up on himself, even though he's not up on what he's actually managed on the last lap. Makes sense, doesn't it? 7.5 minutes to go, coming through the middle sector. Now, someone's off at turn 1 again. And it's a big, big lock-up, because there's smoke is still clearing down at the first corner, and it's Perez. So Sergio Perez in the Red Bull has gone straight on at the first corner this time, just as his teammate managed. Leclerc through the middle sector, and he's lost about 3 or 4 tenths in the middle sector, because even though tyre degradation is not particularly high here, there is still going to be some, especially if you do what Perez did and have a big lockup into the first corner, very similar to Magnussen and Verstappen.
These are the moments when you can start to lean on it, though. We're into the last 7 minutes of the session. You've got to start building up and finding the limits, because these tyres will be scrapped at the end of this session anyway, so they won't be useful for any other part of the weekend. Perez has probably just also derailed the end of his running with that big lockup. Now is the time to go for it. Leclerc is looking quick. He's on another just thousandths quicker this time. He's quicker than his best quickest one and his quickest one through sector 1 this time by a couple of thousandths. Can he keep it together through the whole lap? At the moment, the top 3, Leclerc, Perez and Sainz, are separated by just 700ths on the times.
A little bit of confusion down here at Red Bull, I would suggest. They thought Perez was going to come in. Then he had the big lock-up, so the team were actually standing by ready to do a time pit stop. When he looked up, they suddenly realised, oh, that's not going to happen, so the team came back in again. Then they've gone over to Verstappen. Are they going to send him out or not? Then they've gone back over to Perez's side. So it's like the weathermen. I don't know which way they are going at the moment, but Verstappen's still very much in the car.
Northerly. It's coming northerly. The Mistral for Sunday.
2 Mistral mentions in the
My
one
buzzword
session.
for the week.
Yeah. And you
it's a nice word, though, isn't it?
It's a lovely word. I don't really know what it is. It's just what? It's just a specific wind.
It's a Mediterranean wind.
Okay, so it's warm. It's
Usually,
cold.
in the winter, I guess it gets slightly colder. In the summer, nice warm sea breeze.
Are you doing Paul Ricard with us? I don't think you are you?
No. That would be you get a Mistral.
I get a few Mistrals
absolutely.
on the Mistral Straight. Fernando Alonso, Andrew Benson.
The Mistral is a north wind, actually, and it can be quite cold, and that's why the Mistral Straight is called that. So, yeah.
Because it's cold on the straight.
And it's strong. It's not a pleasant wind.
It's a bad wind.
Yeah.
Oh. What's your favourite wind?
I don't have a favourite wind. I don't think we need to share that conversation we had on Monday in Miami with the audience, do we, Jack?
Pray tell.
What was the
favourite trees? I think.
Favourite trees. Yeah. We were getting stuck into favourite trees. Actually, this was in real life, sitting at a Cuban restaurant on South Beach, discussing our favourite trees. So it's not just free practice. We keep
what lives we lead.
You guys exactly. Are really sunk low in conversation at that moment.
If anyone's wondering, there's some of my favourite trees here. Actually, the pine. Oak pine trees that go down the front, like the ones in Rome. All the ones in Rome that are really tall with just the little, umbrella at the top.
I like a willow.
We're doing it.
I like a willow.
Into the pits comes Max Verstappen. So Sergio Perez is back in. Verstappen is already in, as previously discussed. Leclerc has been through the pits, and he is fastest. Third is Carlos Sainz. Fifth is Norris, Gasly, Ricciardo, Russell, Vettel, Hamilton, the top 10. I feel like we're seeing a lot of people go straight on at the Nouvelle Chicane, just because they can't be bothered to go around the corner.
It is a little bit of that now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Leclerc has done it a few times. Sainz has done it a few times. In fact, all the big cheaters out there at the moment, Leclerc, Sainz, Perez and Sainz are the last 4 people to skip through the chicane, 2 for Sainz and 1 for the others. Verstappen's still in the garage, so he hasn't gone back out to play in the last few moments, and the car, I think I can see, is back on the stands as well. So both Red Bulls in the garage and an early end to their running.
Stone Pines, that's what I was looking for. Stone Pines, these ones. I think they're really smart. They're like just one big trunk and a little umbrella on top. I think they're really smart. And I think they're the ones that are along the front straight, in between the pit lane and the start-finish straight.
Okay.
So, 2 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock. And Leclerc comes through the first sector, a 1/10 of a second down in sector 1 compared to his previous best. But it is nice, as you say, he's backed off again, but it is nice watching them just get a bit quicker and a bit quicker and a bit quicker, kind of like old-style qualifying, isn't it? Jenny's at Red Bull.
Yeah, I am. They're just getting out the medium tyres, actually, for Verstappen, the ones with the big old lock-up that he had on there. So it's a little warm on the front right, but they're bolting them onto the car. I wonder if they're just going to go out, send them out again, just to do the practice starts. Would make sense, wouldn't it, just to give them an idea? Because Perez is also having some tyres put on his car, so I'd expect them to go out just to tag on to the end, really, and do that.
That's exactly what it'll be. Yeah, 2 minutes to go, and just a chance to do some practice starts, because you don't really get the opportunity too often around here.
It's so bouncy out here, man. I'm losing my mind.
Okay, copy that.
Hamilton's losing his mind. It's so bouncy out there. 1 minute and 40 seconds on the clock. And Leclerc is going to end the session quickest. Perez second, Sainz third, Verstappen fourth. So again, it looks it's only FP1, etc., but very close with the Ferraris and the Red Bulls.
It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
nothing to separate them. 700ths between the 3 that did most of the running. Verstappen within 2 tenths, even though he only did a lap or 2 on those mediums as well. really, really tight. That's what I love about this circuit as well. The times are so close. Even if you look a little bit further back, you got the McLarens with Pierre Gasly, with George Russell, all separated by 1/10 as well, or 1/10 and a half. Those 4 cars for 5th place. The margins are so fine, so it's so much up to the driver when you get down to qualifying in these moments. They can find a 10th or 2 at the wheel, risking it next to the barriers. It's really an exhilarating time, the qualifying now.
Yeah, tremendous. 45 seconds on the clock. And with Mercedes in 8th and 10th, Andrew, Mercedes weren't expecting to be quick here, broadly speaking.
No, they weren't. They're worried about their car's slow corner performance. And so Toto Wolff was saying on Sunday after the race in Spain last weekend that he was not that optimistic about Monaco, and that's been borne out. Here's some radio.
Okay, copy.
Hamilton saying he needs elbow pads because it's bouncing so much.
Yeah, nicely timed bit of intervention from Hamilton there into our broadcast. But I think this bouncing problem that Hamilton is talking about is that I suspect they're going to be quite concerned about that, because they felt that the changes they'd made to the floor of the car in Spain had fixed that problem, and but it doesn't appear that it has, or at least it hasn't fixed it here in Monaco. So that's not a good sign for Mercedes, I would say. And just to update on the engine situation, I can't clarify where they are with those engines, but they have not taken a new engine so far this weekend, Mercedes.
Okay. I will read. This wasn't really going to be a thing, but you're all telling me your favourite trees, so I'm going to read them out. Laura says the best trees are Christmas trees, a blue spruce. It's a strong shout.
It's a great shout.
It's a great shout. Tony says I have a curry tree, which I don't really know what that is, honestly. Eleanor says nothing like a tall white eucalyptus tree. Christy says you can't beat the dappled light through a silver birch. Don't care about willows or pines. Silver birch wins the day. And Jago likes an oak tree, and Nulla likes sycamore. There we go.
All very good trees.
They're all
good
great.
trees.
We're not knocking anyone's tree. What's the worst tree? Right, we'll save that for FP2. Charles Leclerc ends the session quickest. A 1 minute 14.53. Is a cactus a tree or a plant?
I don't know.
Perez second, Sainz third, Verstappen fourth, Lando Norris fifth. And then it's Gasly, Ricciardo, Russell, Vettel, Hamilton, the top 10. Sonoda, Stroll, Alonso, Magnussen and Albon, the top 15. Ocon, Zhou, Latifi, Schumacher, the 19 drivers to set the lap time. Valtteri Bottas did a install lap, well, 2 sort of install laps, but that is it.
Strangely, Pierre Gasly has just come past me in the AlphaTauri with a puncture, rear left. So I don't know if he kissed the wall on the way in, but either way, a very flat tyre for Gasly on his way in. I like a sycamore, but my favourite all-time tree is a magnolia tree. Just beautiful. I'd like one. Don't have one. There we go. So that is the first practice session done and dusted. Surprises? Any for you, Jolyon?
Not really. It's quite in pace order. The Ferraris and the Red Bulls right up there. Then McLaren's look good, but we expected it. Gasly had a great run. Maybe Pierre Gasly. No, it's not shocking, is it? Gasly in 6th.
No, I'm a bit more surprised than you, I think, about McLaren. I know that we thought they were, might have a good weekend, but they've been so sort of hit and miss. This is looking like a big hit currently.
Yeah, they've had a great session. Yeah, great session. It didn't shock me so much.
Big hit, not the words you want to hear at Monaco, is it? But Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari as the cars go down to do their practice starts. He tops free practice one with the fastest time. As you say, there's not a whole lot in it, but is it realistic to think he will top every single session of this weekend and then not win the race?
It's possible, isn't it?
I feel like it's more than. Hang on a minute. I'm just going to get out of the way. The Mercedes is just about to come in. And
I don't buy any of this. I do not buy. I think it's a interesting coincidence that he's not finished a race at his home race. I get that. I understand that. It means nothing to me.
It's just a quirk of fate.
Yeah.
And it's not.
We're not at Barrichello levels yet. We're not at Barrichello, Sao Paulo levels of just absurdity.
And he's quick. That's the main thing. He's topped this practice. It's so close. I tell you what, it was a little bit surprising in this session. If people really want to push me for a big surprise,
yeah,
Alpine weren't really running much, were they? No. Both really quite slow. Alonso 13th and Ocon 16th. So maybe they were surprisingly off it for now. But it's only FP1.
Yeah, and we've just seen a picture of Gasly's wheel, and the wheel itself has a big old hole in it, and the rubber on the outside, or the markings on the outside of the tyre, have all been rubbed off. So I would anticipate that your Jenny Clouseau impression has worked.
Yeah, it's not just Vettel that does that, I do it too. Just by the cars as they come into their pit lane, they do a practice pit stop as the mechanics get themselves primed for the rest of the weekend to do as many pit stops.
Without those retirements, he's scoring 18 points in both of those races, or maybe 15. But you know what I mean? Like,
but Leclerc retired from the lead in the last race.
Yeah.
So that's 25 back.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
They would have first and second every race. 3 wins for Leclerc, 3 for Verstappen, apart from Imola, where Leclerc finished 6th. So the gap should be 12 points.
So Jolyon wasn't with us in Barcelona for the last race, so I'm curious as to your thoughts. Would Verstappen have won that Grand Prix anyway?
No.
Do you think Leclerc had that no problem at all?
Oh, he had it hook, line and sinker, didn't he?
Really?
Did he?
Yeah, he was out front under no pressure with a Ferrari that had decent pace, managing his tyres. Verstappen was mired in traffic with the Mercedes after he made his mistake. I think it was relatively deal done for Leclerc.
So this is why I like it when Jolyon comes back into the fold, because a lot of the time, weirdly, I agree with you. And I think I was the lone wolf going...
You actually think that Verstappen would have won that one anyway?
I think Ferrari are going to have a very difficult season with their... And look, we're getting straight into tyre management. But
it's what they like to hear.
I think Ferrari are in quite a bit of trouble. Carlos Sainz had a torrid afternoon. On Friday, all the Ferraris spoke about was our tyre management is really struggling. And when it's 37 degrees, it's hot. I don't know if Leclerc could have held on against Verstappen.
You're ignoring the guy that was dominating the race for the first 28 laps. He was nearly halfway through the race, went the longest of anyone in the first stint, was disappearing up the road. Sainz went through the gravel, Verstappen went through the gravel. Verstappen then didn't have DRS working, was mired in with George Russell, losing half a second a lap every lap at best.
Okay.
And with all that into account, he was going to be a long way back, needed to switch to a 3-stopper to even get it past Russell, then had his teammate to deal with, who was on a different strategy as well. Leclerc was plain sailing, wasn't he? He was nearly a pit stop ahead of those guys.
I just think I disagree. I completely accept the circumstances you're saying in getting stuck behind Russell and DRS not working and making the mistake. And those things categorically happened. I can't deny that they happened. But if they didn't, which over the course of the remainder of the season things are going to balance out to those unexpected things not happening, I still think Verstappen would have won that Grand Prix.
If you're looking at Sainz's pace.
Yeah.
But Sainz and Leclerc are different. Leclerc was dominating. Sainz was already through the gravel, was then down in traffic, wasn't having a clean race, probably had a bit of gravel rash on the underside of his car. Maybe was missing motivation. Lots of things were up. Leclerc was plain sailing, dominating, looking good, was chuffed with